Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan blew my mind. This is 2024, and through the Houses of Parliament in the United Kingdom, one MP is trying to get passed a law that forbids you marrying your first cousin. And we already have one MP opposed to the change in law. Now, this, as I say, one of those ones, when you hear about it, you think, that can't be right. It's 2024. And not only do we not have a law saying you can't marry your cousin, we actually need one because some people do. This is insanity. But what's actually more insane, and you kind of knew this would happen, right? When I first heard about it and when this was getting motioned to go through Parliament, excuse me, as a member's question, you just knew somebody was going to stand up and say, no, this isn't right. The government won't even support this legislation. If they did, they'd have a fair chance of getting put through. But they're not showing any support on it. So it's been left to a Tory member to put the question out there without governmental support, and it probably will not gain law because of the lack of governmental support. Are you actually listening to this, right? And you think, how did we get to 2024 without somebody saying, nah, you maybe shouldn't be able to marry your first cousin? It's insanity. But when I was in Florida, I made this video earlier, when it actually started going through Westminster, this is what one member of Parliament stood up and said during the debating time it's been given, and this is MP, I'll just give him his correct title, IQBAL Mohamed, the MP for Dewsbury and Batley. And here's what he's got to say about a potential law against marrying your first cousin.
There are documented health risks with first cousin marriage, and I agree this is an issue. This is an issue that needs greater awareness on. Virginity testing, forced marriages, and the freedom of women must be forced marriage must be prevented, and the freedom of women must be protected at all times. However, the way to redress this is not to empower the state to ban adults from marrying each other, not least because I don't think it would be effective or enforceable. Instead, the matter needs to be approached as a health awareness issue and a cultural issue where women are being forced against their will to undergo marriage. In doing so, it is important to recognise for many people this is a highly sensitive issue, and in discussing it, we should try to step into the shoes of those who perhaps are not from the same culture as ours, to better understand why the practice continues to be so widespread. An estimated 35 to 50% of all sub-Saharan African populations either prefer or accept cousin marriages, and it is extremely common in the Middle East and in South Asia. The reason the practice is so common is that ordinary people see family intermarriage overall as something that is very positive, something that helps build family bonds and helps put families on a more secure financial foothold. However, as is well documented, it is not without health risks for the children of those relationships, some of whom will be born out of wedlock. Instead of stigmatizing those who are in cousin marriages or those inclined to be, a much more positive approach would be to facilitate advanced genetic test screening for prospective married couples, as is the case in all Arab countries in the Persian Gulf, and more generally to run health education programs targeting those communities where the practice is most common. I would therefore urge the House to vote against this motion and to find a more positive approach to addressing the issues that are caused by first cousin marriages, including the health risks and the consequences of modern conflicts and displacement of population around the world. Thank you.
So there we go. We've not to pass this law in the United Kingdom, and I'll run by 3 of his excuses that we've to not enforce this law. First one he said is he doesn't think it'll be enforceable. Why would it not be enforceable? Is that because things like we've seen recently in the streets of the Midlands, in Leeds, where we were trying to enforce some British laws by taking kids into care. And the community there decided, no, we're not doing that, and basically chased the police out the area. Is that why it wouldn't be enforceable? Because of the certain demographics and the community groups that we would need to enforce it with? It tells us that in the Sub-Sahara and Asia, etc., it's a preferable way to get married. Well, I've got news for you, IQBAL. We're not in those areas. We're in the United Kingdom, where it is far from acceptable for the people of the United Kingdom to marry their first cousin. We've not had that as a option, I would suggest, for hundreds of years, if ever it was acceptable in the United Kingdom to marry your first cousin. So I don't really care whether it's acceptable or fond in the Sub-Sahara, Asia or anywhere else in the world. This is United Kingdom. So it doesn't matter if it's in these other places scattered around the world. We are talking about laws for the United Kingdom. And then he goes on to suggest that we should just leave the law the way it is just now, and we should spend more on healthcare and doing genetic testing, etc., as they do in the Persian Gulf. Again, I'm sorry, IQBAL, I'm not really that bothered what they do in the Persian Gulf. They can do whatever they want in the Persian Gulf to look after minority groups over there who want to marry their first cousin. I don't think we should be putting any more stresses on our already stressed National Health Service in the United Kingdom just to suit the minority of people who, from, in your own words, from the Sub-Sahara or Asia, they might just fancy marrying their first cousin because, as you say, it might be financially beneficial and keep money within a family. So you want to do it for economic reasons, not healthcare reasons, then crack on and go and live in the Sub-Sahara, Asia or any of these areas, or possibly the Persian Gulf where you feel you'll get looked after better with the health service there. So no, I'm not really interested in listening to anybody's nonsense about why the United Kingdom should not enforce a law where we can't marry our first cousins. I'm not interested in how acceptable it is in other areas around the world. If you want to marry your first cousin and you're from these areas around the world, you should maybe consider returning to those areas to enable you to marry your first cousin. And if you're worried about the health of any potential child, then why not move to the Persian Gulf, which is a Muslim country. They're all Muslim countries, and they apparently have great genetic testing in place for people who want to marry their first cousins and have children. So there we go. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe and the notification bell. Let me know your comments below, please. Apologies for not getting the video earlier, but as I say, I was travelling. As you can probably hear, I'm still getting past a wee bit of illness that I've had over the last week. So apologies for that. And comments below, please. That would be great. So the most important thing of all, though, as long as you're not a type of person that wants to A, marry your first cousin, or B, allow everybody else to, or C, let everybody marry their first cousins and create more stresses in our health service here, just to, have genetic testing and stuff to allow these people that want to marry their first cousin. Not you. Definitely not you guys, right? None of you is that, right? But everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.